Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Mountain Blade Bannerlord and we're bringing you another troop video. So this one is Best Special Cavalry. So last time we did Standard Cavalry and I explained that's from the standard troops that you can recruit from most towns and villages. This one is going to be Special Cavalry. So these ones are harder to get. Basically warriors, sons, noble sons, those sort of troops that you're going to be able to recruit. And you get them through having a high relation in towns and villages and doing missions for them. And it allows you to unlock these. You can also get them from rescuing them from enemy armies. There's lots of ways to get them, but they are more rare. So that's why they're in a league of their own. They're also very good. So this one is going to be top 4, much like the last one. So despite, so obviously we're going to start out at 4, but don't let that fool you. These are still all just miles better than the standard cavalry. So these are some of the best troops in the game. The ranking system on here is going to be based on their best stats. Basically, one-handed, polearms, riding, and athletics should be the main ones that pop up in throughout here. They're also going to have special things that set them apart, like how good is their armor, how good are their weapons, how good are their horses, do their horses have armor, do they have any secondary things that are useful in battle? And so with that in mind, we're going to get right into it. So let's start off with number 4. So at number 4, you can see we have the Sturge Andrews champion. So this is going to be for number 4, like I said, it's a good thing to remember that these are all going to be fantastic troops. So the Sturge Andrews is the end of the Warrior's Son chain, so this is pop into there. So you can see we have the Sturgian Warrior's Son. These are who you're usually going to see and be able to recruit, and right off the bat, they're already a pretty good troop. So having these in your army is going to be great. These ones are level 31 and have a wage of 20. Their key stats are one-handed is 280, polearms is 60, riding is 220, and athletics is 60, giving them an average troop rating, or ATR, of 155, making them better than the best of the standard cavalry, if you watch that one. So these are definitely, already going to be pretty good. They've got some nice perks. They have their one-handed weapon is a standard arming sword, it's a pretty good sword. Their horses have some armor, nothing on the head or neck usually, but they have, some around, some barding around the bottom. These troops have a good helmet, which offers a lot of protection, good chest armor, a very large shield, which is great, especially when they're on their feet, so when you're using them in a siege, which can happen, that's great. They, of course, have a nice long lance, so a lot of perks here. So with that in mind, let's see them in combat. So, as you can see them all lined up here. Now, there's going to be some variation in armor and everything. You see this guy right here has lamellar pauldrons instead of the bear skin. But for the most part, they're going to be pretty uniform. And in here, the horses actually have barding on their heads. So it could just be a regional thing. When I tested these, I think I was down in the desert most of all when I tested most of these troops. So there is some variation on all that. But still, the standing stays because there was a decent gap between these guys and the next ones on the list. So let's just see how they do. Alright, so we won. So that was number 4, the Sturge Andrews champion. Let's move on to number 3. So at number 3, we have the Azariah Vanguard Farris, and these are, already getting into significantly more elite troops. Now, it's not going to be a huge gap between the last ones and this one, but it's good enough. So as you can see, we've got a nice shield on the back, got some throwing pole arms, so the throwing pole arms are a nice advantage they have. Shield isn't great, but it's okay for cavalry. It doesn't offer as much protection I would like. A nice thin slashing sword / saber and a decent polearm, so they're well equipped. They have good heavy armor on most of their body. Their armor is pretty good, and so is their leg armor. Helmet offers pretty decent protection too, and as you can see from the horseback there, pretty good horse. Nice heavy armor on it, and as you may know, the Azariah have some of the best horses in the game. So let's check them out in the troop tree. So these ones you're going to find from the Azariah Youth. This is where you're going to start finding these, and again, as with all of the troops on this list, they're going to be found in special places where you have better reputation and certain people will recruit them, and you'll also be able to rescue them from armies. So they are more difficult to get, but they're definitely well worth it. So the Azariah Vanguard Farris, the key stats here, other than the level and wage, which are 31 and 20, so that's going to be pretty consistent on this list. The key stats are one-handed of 60, polearm of 220. They have the added advantage of having throwing at 220, which definitely gives them a decent boost. Riding of 280. Unfortunately, their athletics on foot is only 25. So all this combined gives us an average troop rating, or ATR, of 161. So they are decently above the Sturge Andrews champions, but significantly below the next people on this list. But with all that in mind, let's see these bad boys in combat. Alright, look at them just line upon line. Nice heavy armor on both the troops and the horses. They've got a half skirmisher kind of feel to them because of their javelins, which as you can see they all have equipped. So I think this will probably be a nice short battle. These are some excellent troops. People sometimes think I have a bias against the Azariah, but it's mostly just because they don't have the best stuff. But in this case, these are good troops. I like having these in my army because A, they're a very, very good... Look how quickly they're killing them. Look at this. I mean, these are just looters, so they're pretty easy to kill. But they just mow through them like a scythe through grass. Anyway, like I was saying, these complement almost any army because they make an excellent heavy cavalry unit, but they also double as a really good heavy skirmisher force. The only downside is that they're not very good on foot. So if you go into a siege with your army that you had with you, which is all made up of cavalry, yeah, they're passable, but they don't work quite as well as a good hardened infantry. So that is number 3, the Azariah Vanguard Farris. Let's move on to number 2. So at number 2, we have the Vlandian Banner Knight, which is one of my favorite troops in the game. They're just so much fun. Plus they really feed into my, how much I love the medieval period and the Normans and all this sort of, just so awesome. So for these guys, they've got a lot of advantages. Really, really good armor, really nice arming sword, good cavalry kite shield, nice long lance, full helm, very good coverage. I mean, there's a little bit of a slit, but, a nice mail coif, mail hauberk, coat of plates, reinforced mail gloves, some sort of mail boots with some nice, very stylish slippers. And of course we have these lovely Western war horse with a good old armored caparison all around. So that's just, on the whole, a great look. So let's take a look at what they look like. So these ones are going to come from Vlandian Squires, which you'll see, all over the place. Then you go through Gallant, Knight, Champion, then of course the ever-elusive Banner Knight. So the key stats for the Banner Knight are one-handed of 220, polearm of 280, a riding of 220, and athletics of 60, giving them an average troop rating, or ATR, of 195. Plus they just look badass. Can't resist that coat of plates. So let's see these bad boys in combat. Nothing beats the majestic feel of just a whole line of hardened knights and, look at that. Looks like we're about to start some sort of a Robin Hood movie. Let's see how these boys fight against some looters. Unfortunately, I'm running out of good enemies to fight, to display the troops' prowess. So the looters aren't the best example because, they're pretty easy to kill. But let's just see how the Banner Knights do against them. Personally, I know who I'd bet on. So as you can see, after the initial charge, one of the best things about Banner Knights is once they get up close and personal, they're equally as deadly. They have nice long swords, and couple that with a shield that offers them decent protection and pretty decently heavy armor, I should say, as well as nicely armored horses so they can take a few hits. They're a very versatile open combat troop. So yeah, that's number 2, the Vlandian Banner Knight. Let's move on to number 1, the best special cavalry units in the game. So at number 1, it should come as no surprise that we have the Imperial Elite Cataphract. As you can see, we have just about the best armor in the game. Not only stat-wise, but appearance-wise, it just looks so cool and offers full body, coverage. Excellent horse armor. I think the best horse armor in the game. We've got a long slashing saber weapon, which is great for horseback. A cavalry kite shield, which, fits very well. And a nice long lance. So heavy cavalry makes perfect sense here. So let's look at the troop tree. So these ones you're going to find through the Imperial Ville recruit, and you're going to get the Equite, the Heavy Horseman, the Cataphract, and then finally the Elite Cataphract. So here we have another level 31 and a wage of 20. So key stats for the Cataphracts here are one-handed of 220, polearms of 280, riding of 220, and athletics of 60. So it gives us again an ATR, or average troop rating, of 195. Very similar to the Vlandian Banner Knight. What puts these two aside is definitely the equipment. So the Imperial Elite Cataphracts are just perfectly equipped. Their armor makes them almost impenetrable. Their horses are fantastic horses. They have the best armor in the game. These guys have a great slashing weapon, so they have a slight advantage on foot, but of course, as a cavalry ranking, that has to take a secondary stance to their horseback. So these guys are almost unstoppable in the field. Like I said, an army made up of these, or even supplemented by 20 or 30 of these guys to work on your flanks, is just, they're such an asset. So let's see how they fare against some troops. Alright, so here we are. You can see rank upon rank of just the best cavalry in the game. And unlike the last two, I didn't feel that it would be right to test such an elite group of fighting men against looters. So here we are against a mercenary band of 40 or 50 strong. So we outnumber them, and we're definitely going to beat them, because we would even if we were outnumbered 2-1. But let's just take a look at how they go. Look at that formation. Got some people pulling ahead. Of course, those people pulling ahead are my sergeants. They're not the Cataphracts. The Cataphracts are too disciplined. Look how well they stay together. That's that Imperial discipline. I want to hope that that's something programmed into the game, that they keep them close together, because you'll notice some cavalry, they kind of scatter and get all over the place, like the Khuzaits and the Azariah. They're good at fighting, but they don't have the discipline that the Imperial troops have. Or at least that seems to be the way it is to me. Maybe I'm just seeing what I want to see. But I gotta say, once I discovered like how to get these guys and kept my eyes open for them and started supplementing my armies with them, I don't know that I've ever lost any in battle. You know, not unless your odds are just terrible. Like you've got 20 of these and you're on, you attack an army of 300, and then you still kill 10-1. But they're, especially if you use them in charging and breaking formation, so you're constantly charging in and then zipping out after you take some more of them. So if we have them follow you, which is the best way to use cavalry in these games, is to take them out, reform, then come back through in a wedge and just, shred your opponents. So it would be a disservice not to use them to their full potential, so I'll show you what that looks like. Now, of course, it would be better if we would have let them fully get back to, oh crap, I ran into a tree, I wasn't paying attention. Let them fully get to a stop, form a line, and then charge again. And of course, the troops we're actually fighting against are using decent defensive tactics. They've got a hill to their advantage there. They're able to put trees up between us and them, or, to break our charge. So I gotta respect that. But what I don't have to do is let them live.
Give them hell.
So we'll watch this charge go one more time. So again, like I said, distinction here between the standard cavalry and these ones is these ones are definitely harder to get. They're more expensive, but they're so much better than most of the cavalry you're going to find in the game. Now, my system for ranking them isn't perfect, but it is definitely a pretty balanced system that takes a lot of factors into account. So I'll find, while you probably have disagreements about certain details of one of these lists, on the whole, they're going to be pretty accurate. With that in mind, that is the end of this list. So as usual, I invite you to leave your comments down in the comment section below. If you liked the video, of course, I recommend leaving a like. And if you hate it, leave a dislike. Do whatever you want. But if you feel like the order should have been different, or I should have included someone else on the list, or you disagree with anything I've said, I of course invite you to start that discussion down in the comment section below. Really, these videos are mostly just supposed to be a resource for those playing the game who want to figure out what troops they should get for what army they want to build. So any help that you could supply, I'm sure people would appreciate it. But with all that in mind, thanks for watching and have a nice day. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.